my entire life, I just been Mickey Mouse and stuff, putting stuff together. And it was just like, start new, start fresh. You get everything the way you want it. One of the best advices that I got from one of my mentors was I was convinced to do a 12-bedroom house. And I'm like, but then I got to get a partner. You're going to take it $20,000 more per month with the 4 beds. Do it.
Welcome to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast with your hosts, Charlie Cameron and Alex Schlow. This is your go-to show for cutting-edge insights from industry leaders in residential assisted living.
Whether you're ready to launch your own assisted living business or looking to invest in this fast-growing, high-impact sector, we are here to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence you need to succeed. Get ready to ride the silver tsunami and change the future of senior care. Now on to today's show.
Welcome back to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast, the podcast that brings you expert insights from leaders in assisted living. I'm your host, Charlie Cameron, and today we are thrilled to have Eddy McCracken joining us today. Welcome, Eddy.
Hello.
Eddy is from Crown Point, Indiana, where he operates 2 16-bed homes called Two Hearts Homes for Seniors, and he's working on his third. He has a very similar background as me, starting in the rental space and then getting into assisted living. So very excited to have you today, Eddy. You're definitely someone that our listeners are going to be very interested in hearing your story. So with that, if you would just give us your background, what happened before assisted living, and then we'll pivot into how you kind of made that change.
Okay. I graduated college with a physical education degree, and then I got a teaching job, and then I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I'm like, I want to be rich. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
And so I got into the single family rentals and low income single family rentals, which is a whole different game. And I was a teacher, and I bought like a couple houses a year, and then sooner or later I had 20. My life was a mess, and I was at a Mr. Landlord convention, and Gene Garino, I call him the godfather.
Oh, yeah, Gene.
I call him the godfather of his residential assisted living. And I heard him talking, and I wasn't too interested in the concept. And then he's talking, he's like, yeah, you could take a single family home and convert it. I'm like, yeah, I do that now. Just fix it up after these people move out and trash the place. and then he started talking about how it's set up. It's not medical, and it's assisting with activities of daily living. And my wife at the time, she's a nurse, and she loved the old people. And she would always tell me about, like, when she was a waitress going through college, she'd serve, they'd always give her the old people. And they were talking, and I'm like, I sent her a text in the middle of the Mr. Landlord conference. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about turning a single family home into an assisted living home? And I was hesitant to send her that because at the time I think we probably had one kid and another one on the way. I was teaching full-time, 20 single family rentals, and I was managing everything. And right around that time, I quit doing the work and hired it out. But I was scared because she hates what I do because I'm not home at all, but yet appreciates it because of what it brings us and everything. And all she hears about is tenants, toilets, more houses, court, all that stuff. So when I sent her that text, I'm like, ugh. And then she's like, that sounds awesome. I'm like, okay. Yeah, no. So after Gene was done speaking, I sprinted to the back of the room, signed up for their thing, and then went to their class, and then became a member or a student. And then when I came back, we were all excited, pumped up, coming home. And then we're going to do all this research, see all the other residential assisted livings in the area. And then come to find out, there are no residential assisted livings pretty much in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's pretty wild. And same with Illinois. There's very few. Michigan has a bunch of 6 beds. I think it's something with the laws or whatever. But so we're all excited. Then we find out there's no RALs. We're like, oh, man, which is cool. And it has a disadvantage. The disadvantage is like when I'm calling these zoning people at the city, like, hey, I want to build a residential.
They're thinking nursing home. You got to re-educate them.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that because was one of my funny stories. And in the beginning, I don't know how to argue and stuff like that and bring up the Fair Housing Act. And so I called side note is I then work for the past couple of years. I have been working for the Residential Assisted Living Academy, assisting other students. But so I'm very well versed with the fair housing, stuff like that. But like when I called the city, I'm like, hey, I was all excited. I'm like, hey, I pulled up some random house on Zillow. Hey, I want to put a residential assisted living home here. And they're like, you're not allowed, nursing homes are not allowed in neighborhoods. And I'm like, okay, bye, sorry. And I would just hang out. Now I'm like, all right, is there a certain side of town where the old people belong? Like, where do you allow a group home for people, disabled people that want to enjoy residential environment? Yeah. So that came with a whole set of challenges as well. The zoning meetings that I had to go to and everything. And we identified a lot. And it was funny because no one knew what it was, but they just approved it. And I was like, and so I had problems with financing and everything. So that was taking a while. I kept on getting extensions. And then I'm like, I was peeking at other lots and I found a better lot. And I'm like, so I got to drop what I'm doing, start another one. And so then I did that. I'm like, oh, this will be a piece of cake. And then that took 10 months to get approved just for the approval.
Wow.
But I'm happy I did that. And then another crucial, because with getting into residential assisted living, real estate, having a real estate background helps, having the medical background helps. But in the beginning, I feel that the real estate is more important. If you're not good at real estate, it's very important that you find a lawyer, a good zoning lawyer. And that is found through going, because whatever I jump into, I try and be the best and I try and be a student of it. So I would go to other zoning meetings or I would listen to the previous ones that they had online. And then I would see the zoning lawyers, how they interact with everybody. And that's my person. That's how I got my zoning lawyer, because
good tip. Yeah.
If you're Googling zoning lawyers, Crown Point, Indiana, just anybody with a good SEO person is going to show up. So I want somebody that's in the trenches, seeing how, just like court, finding an eviction lawyer. You want the guy that's good out there. Yeah. So had the lawyer, but the real estate, you have to know a lot about everything or a little about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like zoning, building, all that fun stuff. And one of my biggest backbone in this project was one of my dad's best friends. He's a plan reviewer for architects, and he's very well versed in all this codes. And more importantly, he knows how to read the codes, because sometimes you're looking at this stuff and you're like, what? And he helped me so much just navigating the zoning laws and being like, telling me what terms to stay away from. You're providing assistance with activities of daily living.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Yep.
So
that is important. Can I double tap on something there? We were working on a home that we wanted to purchase and renovate for assisted living in South Carolina. And we ran into the same issues. We ended up having to walk away from it because the state was treating each bedroom like an individual dwelling unit, like an apartment.
Right.
And we're like, hey, no, we're not going to redo the fire rating of the drywall for the entire house. That makes no sense. And we read their codes to them, which was in our favor. And they said, we just don't interpret it that way. And we're like, that's not what it says, though. A lot of people get bent out of shape about, California, Washington State. They have all these regulations and stuff like that. That's actually just like a guidebook of what to do. And you should be regulated in some way. Absolutely. But there's places that you're paving ways, like in South Carolina or in Indiana, where it didn't exist before. You have to get smart about working with the local government to figure it out and say the right things. That is super important. If you don't know what to say, hire someone that does, and we can certainly make recommendations there, but you do not want to put your foot in your mouth and say the wrong thing. You also want to treat these people nice, because think about it, the zoning board, they're part of your team in a way. You need their approval, so you want to be nice, but also don't be afraid to take their time, because that's what they're getting paid for. You're paying taxpayer dollars, right? And so that they can answer your questions and help you through the process, not say no, but how do you get to yes? I think that's super important. The other thing I want to hit on, and you said it right in the beginning, and we see it so many times in our mastermind, I'm sure you've seen it throughout the industry and you teaching students, but most of the time the man is like, I'll focus on analytics and real estate investing is about the numbers, but the woman's got the compassionate side. And sometimes it's flipped, and sometimes it may just be the one in a relationship that's focused on assisted living. But man, usually when you bring the two together and you're like, hey, we're going to bring real estate and we're going to bring this kind of whole compassionate, care-based business, both spouses finally get on board on a business concept. That doesn't usually happen, right? Usually it's the guy doing the real estate thing, the girl doing her own entrepreneur thing. This is the one thing where we've seen more couples come together, be on the same page, and really be passionate about the same project all at once, where they could put two different, usually differing skill sets together to succeed. I just find it super refreshing and interesting.
Yeah. And then when you're a business partner with your spouse, that's all you guys talk about then. So it brings you closer together, but I can see how it can separate you guys as well too. But
yeah, it's good to take breaks from business when you can, but it can strengthen bonds, right? To be on the same page about more things, especially one of the biggest things that couples disagree over is finances, right? So if you're on the same page about a financial business plan, that's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Okay, sorry. We've gone like way down the rabbit hole, but yeah, go ahead.
Hey, real quick, this would be a good tip for your newer students that are listening, just to go back on the zoning and how you're talking about getting them on your team. I find that it's very important that, because like in Indiana, like I studied all the zoning books. Control F is your best friend to find nursing home, assisted living and everything. But it's important that you craft your story and tell them what you're trying to do. Like, group home, I'm trying, like, because a lot of time in the zoning or in my area, assisted living or residential care homes or whatever they're called is not in the zoning book. So you have to say, I see that a group home is allowed for five people. This is a group home for 16 people with disabilities, non-medical. So it's like you have to tell them what you're trying to achieve. And if they start saying, no, it's like her nurse, I'm like, no, I'm not doing medical care. So just if you were living in your own home, having somebody come in and take care of you, or having a lab come to your house to take a lab sample. So you have to craft your story and stick to it and tell them what you're doing.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And it is so important. And it doesn't always mean that a locality is going to say yes. They still have the option to say no. An example, the county that I'm in found a lot. It was going to be pretty cool opportunity. I was like, this is a great lot. I looked at your 2030 plan. You want more senior care homes. There's literally 3 RALs in the entire county. I was like, this is perfect, right? And they're like, yes, absolutely. But it's going to take a year to rezone and it's going to be this. And it's like, I was like, all right, no, you don't actually mean what you say in the plan. And so sometimes you may have to go a county over because some are ridiculous, but you'll find the opposite's true. Like we're on a project in Republic, Missouri, and they're like, we'll do whatever you want. Yes, if rezone, sure. 30 days. We're like, what? Wow. So you're just going to find the right localities that understand what you're trying to do and how it's a compassionate mission. And another thing that's really cool, sorry to continue going down the rabbit hole, but you're not asking the county to put more apartment buildings and more neighborhoods and more blah, 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 burden on the school system and more burden on the sewer system. You're telling them that you want to provide senior housing, a bunch of jobs, a bunch of tax income, and something that the community wants. So more often than not, we see this get approved way more often than apartments or neighborhoods or anything else. Those get a lot of backlash, especially from the community. With senior care, it's the exact opposite. So it's kind of a model that sells itself to investors, to the community, to the local governments. It's just really cool. Sorry. Okay. So on that note, so how, Eddy, did you decide that it sounds like you are building or you built from the ground up? How did you make that decision versus buy existing or renovate? What was the thought process?
What I would tell students is like, you never have your eye focused on one thing, whether that's converting a single family home into this or looking for a lot. In my area, I would call the Midwest. There's not like Arizona. There's a bunch of 4,000 square foot ranches, but you won't find that around here. And I never want to steer a student away from the opportunity of finding a 2-story house in a very nice neighborhood that you can only have 8 or 10 people in. Put an elevator in there. It might cost $100,000, but if you're charging $9,000 to $10,000 a bed, I'm sure that it makes up for it. So we didn't have any of that housing stock here. And my entire life, I just been Mickey Mouse and stuff, putting stuff together. And it was just like, start new, start fresh. You get everything the way you want it. One of the best advices that I got from one of my mentors was I was convinced to do a 12-bedroom house because I could have done it on my own with the financing. And I'm like, but then I got to get a partner. He's like, get a partner. You're going to take it $20,000 more per month with the 4 beds. Do it. I'm like, okay. 12 would have been too easy and boring, I think. But yeah, 16 That's a sweet spot. So we decided to built the first 16 bedroom. The first one's 8,300 square feet. The second one's 9,300 square feet. And we made some little changes that made a huge difference, like 10 foot ceilings instead of 9. Makes a whole completely different appearance. But if I had to build the first one, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But yeah, so that's why we built. And
You built one. How did you, and then you went and built the second, I assume, after you opened the first one, correct?
yeah. We
Tell me how you went about the financing for that first one. Because most of our members are choosing to do SBA for ground up, but it sounds like maybe you did something else.
Yeah, it's a funny story. All these banks around here, once again, just like the zoning people, they don't know what this is.
Yeah.
So I had 5 banks tell me no. I've had 5 builders told me no. And then some random guy I met in the hood in the city, he was like asking for some type of gas station permit or something. I started talking to him, and then went out to breakfast. He was telling me about he's building a new house, and I was telling him what I'm doing. He's, my builder's awesome. Come talk to him. He'll love this. I met him. He's, yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, okay. And to me, it's easy. It's 8 bedrooms on one side, 8 bedrooms on the other, common area in the middle. That's it. But for some reason, everybody else didn't like it. But yeah, so I found him, and then I was going through the SBA 7, and then I handed him the loan application, which is pretty intense, a pretty intense audit on the builder. He's like, I ain't effing doing this. Talk to my banker. And I swear that it's the personal banker's appetite for your project.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
And when I met his banker, I think he was like tight with his grandma or something, and they just loved it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That was tough though, because they required me 20% down. Then they wanted escrowed 20 or, operating costs for the first year and prepayments for the first year. So there was like, my first one was 1.2. So they wanted like 400,000 for that. It just up front. But yeah, so I went through that for the financing. Everything went great. We opened up in June of 2020, which is right in the beginning of COVID. Not the best time to open. But yeah, it was slow. It was slow for a while. It took us about 2 or 3 years to fill up and get on that cadence and everything. Facebook was probably our best friend for advertising.
Really?
And
How
getting
so?
the word out. The thing, and I still love it today. My wife, she's like ChatGPT for Facebook posts for our assisted living. She's awesome. But the reason why I love Facebook and doubled down on Facebook still to this day is that my ad pops up in front of you regardless if you're looking for assisted living or not. Google pay-per-clicks, if you're searching for assisted living and you're really good at knowing that algorithm behind the scenes and whatever marketing agency you're getting taken to the bank with, that's how your success depends on. Facebook, I used to run by myself, but now I got too busy to where I have other people do it. But even if you don't have the money to hire somebody to advertise your Facebook post, boost a post. It's so cheap. It goes in front of their face. And I don't like advertisements on Facebook. I like the posts because that kind of gives you social proof. Like when everybody's liking it and stuff, you look cool or popular, I feel. And the cost is so cheap compared to Google pay-per-click.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I love that.
Cool.
Then the second one with the finance.
If people want to see how you do that, what's your Facebook page?
Just look up two Hearts Homes for Seniors.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
And that's the hard thing too. These facilities, they're not doing Facebook like I am. They're putting up like Happy Veterans Day and they show a cake. Like, okay, cool. So it's better when there's like emotion attached to the post, like emotion attached to your brand, if anything. Like my wife wanted to start this because I left this part out, is that her being a nurse, she was like the healthcare profession of the family. So it's like when her grandma had to go into a nursing home, they had to take her out of 3 different places. Just because there's a nice Starbucks and chandelier in the place paying $10,000 a month, is it going to translate into good care? She just wanted a place that was smaller, and then we came up with this idea. So attaching like emotion to like your business and your purpose and everything, that I feel that kind of triggers something in people where it's like there's a human being and not a corporation behind something.
100%. 100%. I couldn't agree more. And it sounds like your wife is doing something similar to one of our members, Jen, who just opened 2 homes in the Houston area. She created her own brand audit GPT assistant. So it's, hey, here's my brand. If I have a logo or I have this post or this, I want you to check it and make sure it meets my brand guidelines and doesn't go outside of those. So I love that. I love that. It should be a compassionate post. It's a compassion-based business. It makes sense. Yeah, just posting a picture of a flag. Yeah, no, you're not trying real hard if that's the case. So that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear you've had so much success on Facebook. Sounds like it took 2 years or so to get fully occupied. And I'm assuming at that point, you just kept getting referrals and
no referrals.
Really?
It drives me nuts. It's so funny. As of 2 months ago, if you break it down though, it's like how many people have you serviced? Like 50 to 60. And so it's like word of mouth. I don't know. But it's funny because we've been really dead lately. It's been picking up. But for the past 2 months, referrals have been awesome.
Running a residential memory care home is not just a calling, it's a maze of licensure, paperwork, zoning regulations, and day-to-day challenges that can feel overwhelming. That's why so many successful operators partner with Legato Living franchise. Legato Living does more than just help you open a home. They help you open it the right way so you can stay focused on what matters, providing exceptional care to those living with dementia. And once your doors are open, it can get lonely at the top. As a Legato Living franchisee, you are never on your own. Legato Living offers ongoing operational support from staff training and owner conferences to systems, cultures, and quality assurance because a home is only as good as its operator, and great operators deserve a great partner. If you're ready to open a residential memory care home that truly makes a difference, visit Legato Living and start with confidence today.
So
Nice. Okay. So tell me about you get the first home, you open the first home, you get it filled up. What was the timeline to open the second one and kind of why'd you go about that? It seems like it was successful. You're happy. Walk me through your thought process.
it took 5 years to open up the second one. Money was an issue. I had a partner in the first one, but I had a lot of money for my real estate stuff, but it doesn't translate to money in your pocket right now. It's like,
Yep.
you gotta sell them. And so I slowly sold some properties, and then I was making good income from the first one while I had my teaching job. And then another thing I want to give a tip about to people new looking into this is just because you don't see it on the MLS doesn't mean that there's not good property for sale, because I don't want to say that the lazy real estate agents, but sometimes people just stick a sign in the ground and it might be on LoopNet or whatnot. Like it might be on a commercial site, not on Zillow. But it was so funny because we found our second lot and it was for sale for 8 years, and it was for sale during the time and it was way better, but it's fine. I'm happy we did the process that we did. So I found the lot, and then and then we started construction. And then when we opened, we ran into a whole bunch of problems because our management was very weak at the first one. And then whatever weaknesses you have now, as you get bigger,
Double
so are your weaknesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had some headaches with that, and that was a mess. But
Eddie, can we dive into that a little bit more? What did you learn from that? How do you hire now? Give us some thoughts on that.
I don't have advice on hiring now, just because the honeymoon stage is that interview and the first couple weeks and everything. They're going to tell you what you want to hear and everything. I guess it's just like dating. You got to get out there. You learn from your mistakes and everything. But yeah, the problem we had with our one manager, she was a caregiver that graduated into a manager. So she didn't, I want to say experience does matter when you're going into management, just like experience that we have is important, just because we know what our other option is and we don't like it. And we bring those experiences. Like, I feel that I do a very good job setting up my house, this sounds goofy, but putting up handrails like on both sides of the wall so they don't nick it with their walkers and wheelchairs and everything. So like maintenance stuff, my stuff is maintenance free. But yeah, she wasn't enforcing like people calling off. She wasn't good at disciplining people. It was kind of like willy-nilly stuff. Hey, what weekend do you want to work? Oh, I don't want to work weekends. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
We got lucky, and when we found this one, she was like, I was reading her resume. She was a CNA, went to HR, which was a weird jump going from CNA to HR. So that kind of,
She knows how to handle people.
Yeah, definitely. And so we hired her, and then I hired a salesperson too. which probably was overkill, but this salesperson was so good. But yeah, she didn't end up being good. And then our new manager that had the HR skills and the CNA skills was also, I think she's a property manager too for her husband's rentals. So she has those skills. She like it's in her head. Someone's moving out. Someone's moved out. Getting this room ready.
Yeah.
Really good at doing the tour. So she filled both positions and doubled her pace.
That's unusual to have both skill sets.
She's a unicorn.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Keep paying her.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. Okay. Any surprising challenges you faced when starting the first home that you didn't know initially how to overcome?
I just, surprises. I'm not going to say there's everything's a surprise for fitting into this. But it's like whatever you want to do, it's going to take 3 times as long as you want it to take, 3 times the amount of money it's going to take, 3 times the amount of effort it's going to take. But I feel that it's worth it because when you come from where we come from, I do a lot of future casting. It's like when I decided to get into this business, it's like I have 20 rental properties. My life's a mess. I was probably making $15,000, $20,000 a month with my rental income. But it's like, what's the happy side to this? Get 40, have double the problems, deal with the same stuff over and over again. And sometimes if some people's lives are good, you don't have that much motivation to be awesome at assisted living because it's good. But if you're running from something, which I was kind of running from single family rentals, that was my motivation to be awesome at this because I don't want that life.
Yeah.
So
you were running from the grind with no fulfillment, right? Yep. Yeah, it made money, but it was a constant stressful grind with no fulfillment. Been there, man. Been there. I hear everything you're saying. At one point, I self-managed about a dozen short-term rentals. That was a disaster. And it wasn't fulfilling and it was really hard. But yeah, so moving into something that you can create more freedom, that you feel good about doing, that you're getting fulfilled and being able to be passionate about it, is a totally different feeling. Do you feel like you've got a weight lifted, like you're where you want to be?
It's funny because it's right where I'm at right now. I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve. But
okay.
Until you're there, then your goal, you're constantly raising the bar and everything. Yeah.
You're already raising the bar again, right? You're working on number 3. What's the plan there?
Yeah. So it was funny. After I built my second one, even before it was opened, I had a zoning guy call me after we presented from our second location. And that was so helpful. Facebook, once again, is so helpful because you better believe before you go to those zoning meetings, after you're established, they're looking you up. They're looking at your business. They're looking for your social proof. And so after my zoning meeting, my second one didn't even start construction yet. But yeah, so the zoning guy called me. He's like, hey, I love what you're doing. We're on your Facebook page. It's really great. Then they told me their nursing home stories and everything. And then by the way, I'm a realtor. If you ever need help with something, I can make. Actually, no one thought I was going to get approved for my second location because 20 years ago, there was a mental institution that wanted to be built there or next door to me. And the town was like, no, you're not doing that. But they did it backwards. They bought the lot first, then asked for the permission.
Oh,
so they had the lot. So I'm like, and I love the area where I was at in Crown Point. So I'm like, yeah, that lot next to me, I like that. But this person owns it and I can't get in touch with him. He's like, oh, I know a couple people over there. Let me make some phone calls. And he's like, oh, that should be, I'm like, I think I paid $120,000 for my lot. And he's like, yeah, that should be cheaper than that because that's a pie-shaped lot. Yeah, no one likes those. I'm like, okay, cool. So then a couple months later, he calls me. I got in touch with them. What do you want to offer? I'm like, what do you think? He said, let's offer him 100. I'm like, okay. He's like, no, they said it's worth 200. I'm like, offer them 120 and instead of having 6 months to close, tell them I want 9 months to close. And then they kept on saying no till 200, but I offered 200 and 2 years to close, and they accepted that. So I closed on the lot like 8 months ago. I already went through all the zoning stuff. I got all the architectural stuff done, the civil engineering done. So I'm ready to roll, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. I'm in the middle of building our personal house right now. I don't know if I want those 2 projects going on at the same time.
Okay. Eddy, you're continuing to scale. How is financing looking for that? What's your plan there?
I'm dealing with the original bank that helped me out. So what they're doing is they're taking, instead of me coming up with a 20% down, they're taking 15%. They're putting a lien for 15% equity on my second building and then making me come up with 10%. But I already have that met with my architectural and my civil engineering fees.
Sweet. Okay. So just using equity from the other deals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So
Okay.
it's like it takes a lot to get the ball rolling, but when it's rolling,
Yeah. I want to take this opportunity to have our listeners realize that the bank is also one of the team members, and you can't do this without the bank usually. So getting the right bank on board is great. There are some SBA lenders that are focused on assisted living, but also I got started with just a local bank and creating a local relationship, and that can go places too, right? I was able to do 8 apartments for my first deal. Then they financed 16 for the next one because they liked me and we had a personal relationship. Same thing goes for this Republic, Missouri. That's it. Are the guys that are running the show that are starting this project? They've been working with the same bank in that area for a decade on rental properties. So when they said, this is what we want to do, the bank said, okay, when? Those relationships are killer, and you're only going to get those if you network locally and see what you made that connection just through another guy. And sometimes that's just how it works. So you got to get out there and talk with people.
You're one relationship away, one friendship away.
100%
from there, from where you can go.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Okay, Eddie, if you were to start over, is there anything you would do differently in assisted living, that is?
I don't think so.
Okay. I like that answer.
Yeah, and I made a bunch of mistakes. You're only going to learn if you go out there and make mistakes.
Yeah. Unless you go do the thing, it's all just theory, right?
And what I always did was I printed how much I paid for the class and everything. And I still have it hanging up on my office wall today. So it's like when we're getting lazy, or if you have a task to do, call this bank or that, and you're just pushing it off. You're committed, man. You got to go through. And sometimes it's a good thing, even if you don't open one up, it's good that you went through the process and found out that this wasn't for you, instead of buying an existing and then be like, this sucks. I don't like this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You don't know until you try. And ultimately, if you don't stop taking action, you will succeed. That's just how it works.
Yes, absolutely.
I truly believe that. Okay. You've taught a lot of other operators, people getting into assisted living. What would you say is the biggest mistake new operators make, and how can they avoid that?
Being focused on what I brought up earlier about a lot of people want to buy into an existing business, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just in my head, if I was buying into an existing business, why did it fail? Or why are they selling? I just want to convert a house thinking it's going to be cheaper. I don't know, because to me, it's weird. It's with me, with my rehabbing skills, I never was on a budget. So I just knew I had to do this and that, and it's going to work. It's going to work out. But new construction versus renovating, what you said about with the drywall and everything, depending on how far you got to go, how long is the house going to take? 6 months to get rehabbed? 8 months? Do you have to put sprinkler systems in there? So is it really cheaper than starting new and getting exactly what you want? Yes, it might take 12 months and you might pay more interest on the money that's drawn out of the construction loan, but are you going to get a better project?
Yeah, it's a really good point. And that's why we encourage everyone to analyze each deal individually. You don't know until you look at it. All right, how much is that renovation and addition going to cost? Or how much is that land and a ground up build going to cost? Yeah, we had a call yesterday. I don't know if Lisa Cini, you probably do. Yeah. So her new software, alignment formula, we just basically bought into it for our mastermind. And it's incredible because you can basically map out exactly what you're talking about. For the 8 bedrooms, you get to do the common area, you can do what level of finishes you want, and then put your location in. And it says, boom, here's the cost. That makes it nice, because now we can compare that to a renovation or buy an existing and things. So yeah, definitely looking at all those is important.
You brought up a good point, and another tip of advice I want to give the newbies is that utilize sites like Upwork and Fiverr. Because I'm not creative. My wife, she'll be like, oh yeah, just put black windows on there. I'm like, okay. And a lot of people will be like, I don't want to spend that money. It's the money you spend on this is education. And it's either you're going to learn through education or you're going to learn through mistakes. And what I I have so many connections on Fiverr and Upwork where I just reach out to certain people. Like when you're searching for a lot, you don't know if your 9,000 square foot building is going to fit on that lot. So it's like, I get the dimensions, I get my building print. I'm like, hey, do this for me, please. See how this fits. And like that, my renderings, like the front of the building, black windows, black gutters. I have everything designed multiple times before I commit to something. So it's like, it's 2026. Like everything, all the information is out there for you. If you can't find something, that's on you, because I've learned, like I have people set up my Google Analytics, all that stuff, and it's done online. And now it comes with a lot of headaches as well. Sure. Like you're paying for cheaper people, but it's like at the same time, I wouldn't know how to find those people if it wasn't for those sites to do that stuff for me.
Yeah, it's often cheaper to find someone to hire to do it than to A, waste your time, which could be spent on something better on the business as the CEO of your business, or B, make mistakes that you're then going to have to spend more money to fix. So
you're going to pay for it either way.
You're going to pay for it either way. You might as well hire somebody. And it's important. A lot of people think they have to do all the components of their business. That's just not true. Right? You should be focused on the things that grow your business and being the CEO of it and not getting bogged down in the weeds, especially the things you're not good at, right? I don't know if you've ever read Free to Focus, but there's basically this compass in there, and it's got 4 sections in it. It's your freedom compass. And there's a section where the things you're good at, you're proficient, and you're passionate. That's where you should spend 80% of your time, because that's going to make your business grow the most, right? If you're proficient at it, but you hate it, maybe do it as long as it's necessary, but that's when you want to hire out. If you're passionate about it, but you're not good at it, you can work on those things. Maybe you hire someone in, but as you get good at it, it can get promoted to the quadrant that you're both good at and passionate at. And the things that you hate doing and you suck at, guess what? Don't do those things, because it's only going to wear you out. It's going to not leave room for the things you're actually good at that are going to grow your business. And you would be better off spending money to let someone else do it that is good at it, that does like doing it, than taking that on yourself. Your business will be so much better off. And I do get frustrated when people get just so caught up on, I can't spend the money, I need to do it all myself. And no, you're hurting yourself and your business when you do that.
Yeah. It's so, like, I used to spray for bugs at my assisted living. Like, I don't got time for that. I just saved 100 parts or whatever. It's like my hour is worth more than that. And sometimes, like, go back to what you said, sometimes you're the problem. Like, I figured that like me being involved in certain aspects, like, I was messing stuff up. But when I wrote out clear instructions, you two communicate, leave me out, and it works better.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, sometimes we like to micromanage as entrepreneurs, don't we? And it doesn't help the system.
But I do feel, though, that it's important as being an entrepreneur or the CEO that you have a grasp how everything is ran. Like, you did payroll for a little bit. You did this for a little bit. And then you found somebody better than you to take over.
I couldn't agree more. Having touched everything allows you to then manage all of it. I wouldn't hire a property manager. And I didn't hire a property manager until I'd done it myself, so that I knew whether they were good or not when I'd hired them. Yeah. So I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. All right, Eddie, this is awesome, dude. There's been so many good nuggets in here. I love it. I'm so glad we got to connect today. Really cool that you've done basically this kind of coaching for operators as well. Yeah, we know a lot of the same folks in the industry, which is so cool. For anyone who's listening today and got all your really good tips and stuff, but they're still on the fence about getting involved in residential assisted living, what advice would you have for them?
Just do my favorite thing to do. It's a bad thing and a good thing, doing the future casting. What is your life now? Do you like it? Can you do this for the next 20 years?
Oof.
And if you can't do it, then this might not be the business for you then, because there's going to be a lot of times where there's hard things that you have to figure out, long nights that you have to work, but it's worth it.
But also, future cast, what's your alternative?
Right. Yeah.
For me, it was, hey, I stay in the military for 20 years, and everyone I know who's retired from the military after 20 years goes and works for another 20 years. Yep. So that's not really a retirement. That's not really, it's baited into a trap. So for me, it was like, oh, I could continue this slug, or I can go do the entrepreneur thing and just solve problems, which, it's hard. It's hard. It's going to be hard, but compared to the alternative, it's much better.
Yeah. And it brought us so much freedom. Go on vacation a lot.
Yeah.
It's very well worth it. And it brought me a lot of freedom. I was able to quit my job. I was making good money as a teacher. Sounds weird, but I was making good money as a teacher, good insurance. But it came to the fact that I can't do this anymore. So just, you got a future cast. And what's your life going to be if you continue this road?
Love that. All right, everybody, get your pen and paper out. Take this moment to sit down and think about it. 2 pages, right? One side, what does your future look like if you don't change anything? What does your future look like if you potentially do change things and you try this path? I love it, man. It sounds like it's worked out pretty well for you.
My favorite guy that taught me about future casting is Dan Coe.
Oh,
Look
okay.
him up on YouTube. He talks about focus, clarity, the 4-hour workday, and he just talks in a boring, monotone voice, but it's so good. Look him up.
Okay. Maybe a bedtime listen, but cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that too, Eddy. Dude, this was awesome. Do you care to share if listeners want to get in touch with you, how they might do that?
Yeah, the easy way would probably be go on my website and just send an email, or Eddy, EDDY at twohearts.com.
Okay. Awesome. We'll put all that in the show notes, and go follow his Facebook page because he's doing it right. I'm going to be doing that as well because I want to see how you're doing it.
That's the best thing to do. Look at somebody else successful. Not saying I am,
Yes.
a little bit. Do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Success
Yeah.
leaves a breadcrumb trail.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And there's room for all of us to succeed in this industry. We just need more and more great care homes. Okay. We will not meet the need over the next 2 decades. So do it, share as much as we can with each other, and let's crush this.
Absolutely.
Eddy, thanks so much, dude. This was awesome. I'm looking forward to having you back in maybe a half a year or something and see how the third home's going.
All right. I'm around.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a raving 5-star review. And a quick review helps more listeners find the show and more seniors get the exceptional care they deserve. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And just so you know, we have prepared some free resources for you to help you succeed in residential assisted living in addition to this podcast. Head over to theralroom.com, that is the RAL room.com, to download our free 10-step guide to launch your first or next residential assisted living home, or our 10 reasons to passively invest in residential assisted living ebooks. And if you're ready to take the next step and make real moves in the RAL industry, join us in the RAL Room Mastermind. It is an exclusive community where we deep dive into everything you need to launch and grow your own residential assisted living business. You'll get access to recorded courses, live calls with industry experts, a RAL calculator, resources and tools, like-minded entrepreneurs, funding opportunities, and an expert networking community to help you along your journey. Be sure to join us next time on the RAL Room Podcast as we continue to explore the world of residential assisted living with more great guests. See you then.